Welcome to QTV. I'm Larkyn. Today we're here with Jens Hanssen. Thank you for being with us today. Can you tell us what brought you to Queen's today?
I was invited by the History Department and by my colleague Adnan Hussain to give two talks, one on the current situation in Syria and one later tonight on Kafka and Arabs.
Excellent. And why do you think these topics are important for students to know about and to hear?
Well, I think the Arab uprisings are one of the most pressing and important events in the last 2 years, almost 2 years. And as they turn sour, certainly in Syria, students as well as the population at large and us academics, we are kind of trying to make sense of the violence that occurs and where it might lead to.
You said earlier in your talk that you thought that the media coverage of Syria was very binary. What do you think is going on in Syria right now?
Well, I mean, news coverage is binary most places. Whenever, especially the television covers any area of the world, it tends to be thinking in binaries. Well, Syria, clearly there is a conflict, and clearly there are front lines, and by and large it's the opposition to Bashar al-Assad against the Assad regime, so in that sense it's not wrong. What I meant to say binaries, with binaries is that we're thinking in terms of essentialist binaries. It's Muslims, or it's Sunnis against Alawis, it's Muslims against Christians, or in Palestine, Israel, Jews against Muslims. The story is always more complicated, and we have to factor in geography, class, all kinds of other aspects, and also that often within these apparently, allegedly monolithic units, you have all kinds of different perspectives, and the Syrian regime, while it is surprisingly monolithic given how quickly regimes in Tunisia and Egypt fell, even within that regime, I think there are still differences and some alternatives, although the more the violence persists, the less alternatives seem to be possible.
So your background is in Middle Eastern history. What got you interested in that?
Yes, I guess initially was the Arab-Israeli conflict, but since then it's way branched out into aspects from early Islam all the way to the present, mainly history though, no longer politics. I'm interested in literature, so tonight I talk about how Arabic literati, writers and poets have received and have invoked the works of Franz Kafka, for example. So that's a very interesting topic for me.
So you've been at quite a few different universities all over the globe. You've been at Oxford in England and also in the Middle East and now at UofT. How would you compare them? Like, they're in such different geographies.
All universities face what I call the threat of privatization, corporatization. The American University in Beirut is no different from Oxford or UofT or Kingston, probably, for that matter. I like teaching certainly at UofT. The student population is diverse. I get a lot of Arab Canadian students who get it, who are interested in issues of Palestine. Many are committed to the boycott, divestment and sanctions issue. So it feels, even though geographically I'm far away from the Middle East, but I think my students do make it, and Toronto as such makes it almost an extension of, or even an epicenter of politics to do with the Middle East.
Excellent. Those are all my questions for this evening. Thank you very much for tuning into QTV Profiles.
Thank you very much.